man, I wish that I would have listened from the beginning of doing a niche business, just because it makes life so much easier. You don't have to continue to reinvent the wheel. You already know what problems your clients are going to have before they come to you. You can really standardize and systematize all your processes. So it's easier for you. It's easier for your employees or your contractors.
You're listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with your host, Michael Palmer. Listen each week as inspiring guests share their secrets of success to help you increase your confidence, work smarter, and build a business you love. This episode of The Successful Bookkeeper is brought to you by PureBookkeeping.com, the proven system to grow your bookkeeping business.
Welcome back to the Successful Bookkeeper Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Palmer, and today's show is going to be a fun one. Our guest is the owner of Bright Bookkeeping based in Florida, Cindy Schroeder. Welcome to the show.
So glad to be here. Thanks for asking to have me here.
Great to have you, Cindy. So I'd love to just take a step back so our listener can get to know you and find out what's your past look like that had you doing what you're doing today? How'd you get here?
Absolutely. So I started with an accounting degree from Northern Illinois because I really didn't know what I wanted to do for work. I always enjoyed doing my mom's bank reconciliation when I was little. So I thought, accounting's a good place to start and a great background to have. So that kind of led to a bunch of jobs, just accounting assistant jobs, doing AR, AP at a bunch of different companies. And I spent many years, I would say probably about 10 or 12 years, changing jobs every year because I always loved what I did, but I always hated where I was. So the last place that I was the worst one. And at that job, I finally realized I need to figure something else out. So I convinced them to start using QuickBooks Desktop at the time, and taught myself how to use it, and then branched out to start my own business. I wasn't even sure if at that time that, companies were going to hire outsourced accounting people that, weren't employees in their company. But, at this point, I was kind of like my last ditch effort of getting out of this place where my soul was dying for better terms. And so I went to some networking events and just kind of asked them if, they didn't have to do the bookkeeping, they could outsource it. Would they be interested in that? And thankfully found a bunch of people that were interested and was able to leave my job.
Wow. That's, and you got rid of the soul-sucking
Yes,
life.
I did. Absolutely. Yes.
And how long did it take you to, it's always interesting, and I'm sure there's listeners right now going, that's me, I want to leave. And it's daunting, right? I'd love to hear kind of, you're stuck in this position. What were some of the things that you did to prepare yourself?
Yeah, like I mentioned, I kind of was teaching myself QuickBooks Desktop at the job, but also in the evenings, figuring out, watching different trainings and things like this. This was back before YouTube was popular, so it's a little bit less options. There's more options now. And really just having the conversations with people about, if they wanted help, taking on some smaller ones. One of my first jobs was a prior business that I worked for that was looking just for someone to come in to do collections. And so I was working for them just part-time and then building my business on the side. And then after, it really only took a few months for me to get enough business to take over the income that I walked away from.
Wow. So in a few months, you solved it, and here you are. Now, when you were getting those first clients, you started with friends and family kind of, it's like, I work for these people, I'll go do a little bit over here. Did you leave the soul-sucking job right away, or?
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
That was the first step. Yeah, I really, in the first few years of my business, I really dived into networking, which I know, being a bookkeeper, we're often very introverted. I know I am. That's why I'm doing this podcast. So I'm so appreciative. It helps me get out of my comfort zone. And so really just networking and talking to people and getting my name out there. And so one of the things that I always suggest is I know it's kind of daunting to go to events, and now with COVID, things kind of changed, but now things are getting back to in-person events. So don't put so much pressure on yourself to get a lead like at the, where you're going. So say you belong to a chamber, you're going to a chamber event. My rule was always I only needed to talk to 3 people and then I could leave. So, that was, had these small goals. Sometimes I think at the beginning, even it was just drive to the event and park and then go home, just to kind of help yourself get over that scared feeling of, walking into a room full of people you don't know. And so just making these small goals I was able to become more comfortable. And then after, you meet 3 people, then the next time you meet 3 more people. And then by no time you're knowing a lot of the people in the room, and it's not as scary as it once was.
It is always interesting hearing about that. And I remember the very first networking event that I ever went to, and it was not enjoyable. It was a chamber meeting, actually. I was in my early 20s. Actually, I don't even think I was in my 20s yet. I was like probably 18, 19 years old. And I just remember this thought of, well, how am I going to talk about? Like how am I? So it was very uncomfortable. And I would consider myself to be somewhat outgoing in certain scenarios. But it's a fear or an anxiety around what to talk about for me anyways. And that was the breakthrough for me. Not that I enjoy them now. I still have those anxieties of like, what am I going to talk about? All that good stuff. But the key thing for me was similar to yours. It wasn't even 3. It was like, it's just talk to one, have a meaningful conversation with one person. And I think it's like people talk about the, going and collecting cards. It's like, oh, hey, those cards. I came out with 10 cards. And it's like, really, what are those 10 cards? But if you had one meaningful conversation, even if it was about the weather and you made somebody and you had a nice conversation, that was more valuable. And so I always just think of it that way, is to go in with that one objective of just something. And like you said, drive to the building, sit there in your car and then drive home is better than doing nothing. And so it's building up to something where you are comfortable doing it and do it well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think my very first BNI, like I went to BNI meetings and they asked for your 30-second infomercial or whatever. And I didn't even have a business. Like I didn't even have a business name at that point. So just building, using those things to build the confidence to stand up in front of a group of people and talk about yourself. It's a great opportunity.
Great opportunity, but extremely daunting.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I think for anyone that is faced with like the anxiety of doing it, it is a little bit of self-care and giving yourself a break to go and mess it up. And that's it. When you go to a meeting, you have no idea who you're going to meet. You might meet a friend,
Right, absolutely.
It might not be business that you'll come out of there with. You might come out of there with a new friend or providing that. So there's some great strategies. And I know for our listener, it's always good to refresh those, because we went through this period of where in-person things kind of shut down for a long period, and it's taken a while to get back to it. But there is a real opportunity with meeting people face-to-face in a room and making business connections. And for you, it was your number one primary way of growing your business.
Yeah.
We'll get back to the interview right after this word from our sponsor. Hey, bookkeepers, are you tired of juggling spreadsheets, chasing down receipts, and spending endless hours on client deliverables? It's time to simplify your workflow with Hub Analytics. Hub Analytics is the financial platform built just for you. We streamline bookkeeping operations so you can focus on what really matters, delivering high-quality results for your clients. With our easy-to-use tools, you'll save time, reduce errors, and gain deeper insights into your clients' financials. Imagine having all your financial data in one place with real-time analytics and customized reports at your fingertips. No more late nights, no more stress, just efficient, accurate bookkeeping that makes you look like the hero you are. Ready to take your bookkeeping to the next level? Visit hub-analytics.com to start your free trial today. Hub Analytics, where smarter bookkeeping begins. Thank you for hearing from our sponsor. Now let's get back to the interview. From there, you picked up some clients, and then how did it sort of evolve from there?
Yeah. So, my journey's a little probably crazy. So I started picking up clients and I was living in Chicago at the time. So had a lifetime of winters and realizing that I had had enough of a lifetime of winters and being a huge Disney nerd. My goal was to live at the Magic Kingdom, which they don't actually let you live at the Magic Kingdom, unfortunately. So my new goal was to be able to summer here, to winter here and get out of the snow. And so I had, and the reason for this, let me backtrack a little bit, is I had a few years of, just say, life-altering things that happened. I lost both of my parents and had a cancer diagnosis within the span of about 3
Wow.
years. It really woke you up to be like, okay, why am I working so hard? Why am I giving all my time to all my clients and not really enjoying life how you should be? It's so short, and so you want to take every advantage of it. So it's really changed my mindset a lot to refocus and really focus more on fun. Sorry, clients. Than create a business that supports my lifestyle and not the other way around. So I put into place at kind of at the same time. This was back in like 2010, 2011. That was when QuickBooks Online was starting to take over the technology, and so really dived into QuickBooks Online, starting to work remotely, because up till that point I was really working in desktop, going to clients' offices and things like that. So it's obviously a much different time now. So I created this remote business where, I was working mostly from home. And then I thought, well, hey, if I'm working from home anyway, what difference does it make if I'm in Chicago or Florida? So for a month in 2016, I snowbirded just to kind of try it out and see if it would work. Now, my husband was working as a controller at a relocation company at the time, and he had been there for quite a few years. So I figured this was going to be, how it was going to be until he retired. So we're talking like 10 or 15 years. And when he came to pick me up after the first month, and I said, "Oh, how do you think the snowbird adventure went?" And he's like, "I'm ready to move." So we started building our house that year, and he came on. He was working somewhat in our business already, part-time, but he came full on to our business, and we moved to Florida in 2017. And now we get to see Magic Kingdom fireworks from our backyard every night. And it's a dream come true for a total Disney nerd, and get to go to the parks whenever I want. And that's one of the joys of running your own business. You get to make the rules and get to have the flexibility to do what you want when you want.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So he was in Chicago. You were in Florida that first go, and he came to pick you up. And you just spent a month in Florida, and he'd spent a month in Chicago, and said, "I'm ready. Let's get out of here."
It was like, thankfully,
let's not go back.
A snowier winter that winter. So yes.
Oh yeah, it really solidified the decision to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's super fun. And so you're a Disney nerd. Is that what you called it? And and so how much do you go to the park? Do you actually go a lot still? Or?
Yes, definitely. So we've been here now, I think 8 years. It's been 8 years next month. And I go at least once, usually twice a week. But my husband goes golfing on Sunday mornings. I go to Magic Kingdom and ride Tron. And Epcot always has something going on, different concerts and things like that. So we typically go, I would say 2 to 3 times a week.
Right. Like, is that I'm just curious now, because I don't think I've heard people go a lot, but I've never heard or spoke to somebody. Is it like a season's pass type of thing?
Oh,
or
how definitely. Yeah, we have the Incredible Pass, which is no blackout dates. And so, so our kind of my work schedule is probably a little bit different. I typically work on Saturday so that we can have Mondays off. And then we a lot of times go to the parks on Mondays because they're less crowded.
Right. For sure. Well, that's super cool. I love the life by design. You've got a business now. You're right there. You can go and do this. Now, stepping back, you've evolved that, and then you moved also states, which is a big shift. You probably kept some of these clients from Chicago, but what was that like? Was there new ways of finding? Because online, you don't have to meet people necessarily at a physical event. You can meet them anywhere. How did that start to evolve for you?
Yeah, for us, it started so right about the same time that we moved. We really didn't lose a lot of clients by moving because they were already mostly remote. We lost a few just because of natural attrition or ones that we offboarded, but really didn't lose any because of the fact that we moved. At the same time that we moved, and up till that point, I didn't really I probably didn't really have a niche. I did a lot of service-based businesses, but like I had a school and I had marketing and insurance and all different types of clients. And I had heard from all these conferences that I attend, you need to niche. That's the way of the future, and never really understood, why that was important. And right when we moved, we happened to get a call from a guy, his name's Scott, that he's a coach for painting contractors. So he helps painting contractors become $1 million and above businesses. And what he was looking for was an accounting department or bookkeeping department or service that could help his clients get their books in order. So he was coaching these painters, but their finances were terrible. And so he wanted to make sure to work with someone that understood what his mission was and be able to, help his clients get organized so that he could coach them better. Well, he thought we lived in the town next to him because our website had our old address on it. And when he found out that we lived in Florida, he was a little taken back until the fact that he let us know that he also is a Dis nerd. And so now we've created this awesome relationship, and he gets to come to Florida to do business, but we also get to go play in the parks. And so yeah, so when he called, we were like, oh, this would be great. And we started working with his painters, and that has evolved over the last 6 years or so. And so now I would say probably about 70% of our business is painting contractors. And man, I wish that I would have listened from the beginning of doing a niche business, just because it makes life so much easier. You don't have to continue to reinvent the wheel. You already know what problems your clients are going to have before they come to you. You can really standardize and systematize all your processes. So it's easier for you. It's easier for your employees or your contractors. And yeah, so life's been really good. And we have a very similar mission. He does in-person retreats with his painting clients, and so which also happen to be in Orlando because they like to golf. And so we actually get to see our clients in person and hang out with them and become friends with them a couple times a year when he has these retreats. So it's been a really great relationship and a really good power partnership for both of us.
That's amazing. It's yeah, you just see it working so well. It serves so many things for his business, for their business, and for your business, and it all sort of comes together in a nice, annual party, if you will, to meet people. What a cool concept.
Yeah. Yeah. So we kind of work together to create the process that works best for them, to onboard them and go through the whole process and everything.
That's right. I mean, it speaks to the power of bookkeeping, really, and proper books. It's like there's an example of a person that helps businesses grow to a certain amount, and probably the systems, the process, the marketing, the sales, all of those things he's showing them. But if you don't have that one piece, you don't have anything. Right. And that's not just the painting business. That's every single business on the planet needs to have great finances and have that in order. And when you do, you apply anything to that model, it works great. You know, there's going to be problems in life and business and, market changes and all these things. But at the end of the day, that one piece never changes. You get that right. So it speaks to the incredible opportunity there is for any bookkeeper who's good at what they do and can get it to where it needs to be. And you happen to find basically a vein of gold where all these businesses kind of lined up, ready to go. And then it's just a self-fulfilling program where you help them grow. He brings new people in, and wonderful. So cool. So that's become pretty much your staple then, or would you still look for clients outside of that relationship?
So we still do. I mean, we get some clients, just organically that find us online or from social media or things like that. But majority of the clients that we're taking now are just primarily painters.
Okay. Very cool. So it's so interesting how that does change the business model. When you change to that, what did you notice about your business? Did you find that you've already mentioned a little bit about the benefits of the niche, but or niche as you would call it, is some of the key things that have changed in your business since really narrowing down into this area?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest thing is that, standard operating procedures, which I'm terrible at writing. And so now there's less of them. So you can really
That's right.
get that completed. So if you are just starting, don't put that off. That's one of my biggest tips is even if you just have one or two clients, just start writing your processes down because it's going to blow up before you know it. And then it gets to be overwhelming how much you need to write. But yeah, I think things like that, and we've been able to delegate. So we actually have brought on a few people to our team, which is new, and they know what to do because they're doing the same thing for every client.
Yeah. Very cool. And so now with your business, you're also affiliated with Bookkeeping Buds. So maybe talk a little bit about that and how that came to be and what's it all
Yeah.
about.
Absolutely. So I'm the founder of Bookkeeping Buds. So when I started my business, I didn't have anyone in my orbit that had their own business. So there were obviously a lot of questions about running your business and dealing with clients and what tech is good and all of those things. So I had belonged to an organization in Chicago that was built with or created with accountants and bookkeepers and some tech people where they met once a month just to discuss ideas. And it was great, this live format, but you're there trying to get business, from these CPAs and tech people. And so wasn't really a safe place to ask questions. Like you didn't want to ask a question that was dumb because then they're not going to refer business to you. So thankfully I had a friend that I met there, Kay Morgan, and I reached out to her and said, hey, what if we just did a group just for, bookkeepers where we could ask whatever questions we want. There's no judgment. And that's kind of how it started back in 2011. And we met 12 people at a Panera once a month. And once it got to 12, I kind of put a stop on it. And even though we were technically competitors because we're all in this small area, all doing basically the same thing, bookkeeping for small business, it was so impactful as, how all of our businesses started to grow and how the stress diminished by being part of this connection of like-minded people that all knew exactly what you were talking about when you said this reconciliation didn't work or this tech is bothering me. And so after a while in 2015, I realized that I really wanted to create this more for more people because I figured more people could take advantage of it. And so that's kind of when Bookkeeping Buds took off, and then it started becoming virtual. And now we have over 100 members across the country of women that all run a bookkeeping firm. And, the whole principle behind it is really just connection, and we support each other through everything. We get to see each other at live events, encourage those that may be a little overwhelmed to go to live events to come to live events, like the bigger conferences like Scaling New Heights or Bridging the Gap, and really, show up and grow their business from having that confidence to go to those live events with people they already know.
That's very cool. That's wonderful. I mean, who you surround yourself is who you become. And so it can be daunting out there in the world growing your business. And like you said, it's one of the, you've got BNIs, you've got other networking groups, but it's not a place to ask questions. It's a place to meet people and transact and find great customers for your business and help others do the same. But this is a community to support each other in the growth of your business.
Absolutely. So we talk a lot about tech, and we have a lot of people within our group that will contract with each other. We've had some people that have actually purchased each other's businesses and combined businesses. And so that's just really a great platform to connect. And there, can you run a business all on your own? Yes, but there's so many great communities in our industry that there's no sense to do that. It's way more fun to be part of a community and join others to help build your business grow stronger.
That's right. That's right. What a cool journey that you've had. I'd love to hear some thoughts from you about, if you were sitting here with a person who was looking to grow their business or jump in and start a business, what would be some of the things that you would recommend they do?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing is really to think about what you want. Like, why do you want to grow your business? What's your why, I guess. But we have a saying in Buds, it's dream big, shine bright, be kind. And so that dream big piece of it is, I think people overlook, and it's just they start a business because they want money, to support themselves or live the life they want, and that it just quickly becomes overwhelming. And so really being intentional on why you're growing your business. Are you growing it for a money goal? Are you growing it, so you have more time and flexibility? And then really create those boundaries around giving yourself why, what your why is. I think that sometimes that's very overlooked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so true. So true. Well, this has been fantastic, Cindy. I absolutely love what you've created. I think you're a role model for those living a life by design. And, even with the fireworks in the backyard, it's real clear that, you can do anything you want in life if you simply dream it and figure it out and start building your pathway towards it.
Definitely. Build a business that feels like your own fairy tale.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So if people wanted to learn more about Bookkeeping Buds, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, the best way would be to reach out. We have a website, bookkeepingbuds.com, and we actually have a quiz on there to find out what Disney ride your business is most like. So I would love to have you take that quiz and let me know what it turns out.
That's cool. Super cool. Well, this has been great, Cindy. I really loved having you on the show. And on behalf of our listener, I want to thank you for your generosity in coming on here and sharing your journey.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
The pleasure has been all ours. And with that, we wrap another episode of the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. To learn more about today's wonderful guest and to get access to all sorts of valuable free business building resources, you can go to thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Until next time, goodbye.
You've been listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with Michael Palmer. For more information and to download the resources mentioned in this episode, please visit us at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Thank you for listening.